and hope and pray that every one of you must have a wonderful journey at the Akrura Ghat in Vrindavan, sitting and meditating on the wonderful pastimes. Today's a lot of our devotees has attended the Mangala Aarti with the youth, so participants are a little less, but that is a wonderful initiative to involve the youth. So I'm very happy. So today is the spiritual warriors who joined today was Kasturi Manjari Mataji, Patit Pavan Prabhu, Manani Mataji, Amol and Smita Panchpande, Sikha and Pankaj Gupta, Girivaridari Prabhu, Raghav Chaitanya Prabhu, Sri Devi Dasi, Murli Manohar Prabhu, Samantan Swastika Pancha, Sumitra Radha Mataji, Devendra Krishna Prabhu, Tapti Ghosh Mataji, Prathmais Prabhu, Paramanand Hari Prabhu, Nandanandan Priya Mataji, Nadia Kumar Prabhu, Saraswati Devi Dasi, Manmatha Anand Prabhu, Sundari Radha Mataji, Tulsi Priya Devi Dasi, Namanand Prabhu, Prem Vinodini Mataji, Janki Kan Prabhu, Labanga Latika Mataji, Rajendra Prabhu, Kamal Priya Devi Dasi, Rag Bhakti Devi Dasi, Pandurang Devdas Prabhu, Damodarati Mataji, Madhvi Gopi Mataji, Madhav Charan Prabhu, Ananya Bhakti Devi Dasi, Karunamai Mataji, Barsana Rani Mataji, Kamini Priya Mataji, Sankarsan Prabhu and Manjari, Advait Prabhu, Shrikant Survase Prabhu, Satchinandan Krishna Prabhu, Sitala Priya Devi Dasi, Manoj Kapoor Prabhu, Arjun Sitakur, Lalit and Josna Vara. I don't know, I didn't see Balaram Prabhu's. Radha Charan Prabhu, Kamlesh Dingra Mataji, Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Hari Gatha Mataji, Pitambar Priya Prabhu, Prem Priya Padma Mataji, Amit Prabhu, Lekha Mataji, Suchitra Mataji. I didn't see Sumit Prabhu today, Hari Bol. Vijay Keshav Prabhu, Uttam Bhakta Prabhu, Vallabhi Mataji, Sri Kumar Prabhu, Nissan Sharma Prabhu. I think those are the devotees who joined today. So let's hear the wonderful song before we can read the prayers of Vedas. Hare Krishna.
जीव जागो जीव जागो गोरा चाँद वाले जीव जागो गोरा चाँद वाले जीव जागो चाँद वाले जीव जागो गोरा चाँद वाले कत निद्रा जा माया ऐसा सिरा काले माया पिशाचिर कोले कत निद्रा जा माया पिशाचिर कोले कत निद्रा जा माया पिशाचिर संसार भीतरे भजिब बलिया সংসার ভিতরে
ভজিব বনে আয়েসে সংসার ভিতরে
ভুলিয়া রহিলে তুমি অবিদার ভরে
ভুলে রহিলে তুমি অবিদার বরে
ভুলিয়া রহিলে তুমি অবিদার ভরে
ভুলে রহিলে তুমি অবিদার বরে
জীব জাগো জীব জাগো গোরা চাঁদ বলে
জীব জাগো জীব জাগো গোরা চাঁদ বলে
কত নিদ্রা যা মায়া দিশা শির কলে
কত নিদ্রা যাও মায়া বিষাচির কোলে
তোমারে লইতে আমি হইনু অবতার
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 আমি বিনা বন্ধু আর কে আছে তোমার
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 জীব জাগো জীব জাগো গোরা চাঁদ বলে
জীব জাগো জীব জাগো গোরা চাঁদ বলে
কত নিদ্রা যা মায়া পিতাশির কলে
কত নিদ্রা যাও মায়া বিষাচির কোলে
এনেছি ঔষধি মায়া নাসিবার লাগি
এনেছে ঔষধে মায়া নাসিবার লাগি
এনেছি ঔষধি মায়া নাসিবার লাগে
এনেছে ঔষধে মায়া নাসিবার লাগে
হরি নাম মহামন্ত্র লহ তুমি মাগি
হরে নাম মহামন্ত্র লও তো
বলে
জীব জাগো গোরা চাঁদ বলে
নিদ্রা যা মায়া পিছাসির কলে
নিদ্রা যা মায়া ত্রিশাচির কোলে
জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ
জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ
জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ
জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ জয় নিতাই গৌরাঙ্গ
Thank you very much, Saman Prabhu, for playing a wonderful song by our great Acharya Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Also, Madhav Prabhu joined, son of Vijay Keshav Prabhu, today before 4 o'clock. Very nice boy. And also, how can I forget to name Ishwar Krishna Prabhu, who is always there before 2:30 in the morning. So, but I think they went later on to the temple with the youth. So we will continue reading the prayers of the Vedas, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 87, Text 27. The devotees who worship you as the shelter of all beings disregard death and place their feet on his head. But with the words of the Vedas, you bind the non-devotees like animals, though they be vastly learned scholars. It is your affectionate devotees who can purify themselves and others, not those who are inimical to you. Purport. The personified Vedas have now set aside the erroneous philosophies of several contending schools. The Asat Utpattivad of the Vaisesikas, who presume a material source of creation. The Sad Vinasvad of the Naiyayikas, who would deprive the liberated soul of consciousness. The Sagunatva Vedavad of the Sankhyas, who isolate the soul from all his apparent qualities. The Vipanavad of the Mimamsakas, who condemn the soul to eternal involvement in the mundane commerce of karma. And Vivartavad of the Mayavadis, who denigrate the soul's real life in this world as a hallucination. Having rejected all these ideas, the personified Vedas now present the philosophy of devotional service, Paricharyavad. The Vaishnavas who accept this philosophy teach that the Jiva soul is an atomic particle of spiritual personality who possesses minute knowledge, is not independent and has no material qualities. Being minute, he is prone to come under the control of the material energy, where he suffers the pains of material life. He can end his suffering and regain the shelter of the Supreme Lord's divine internal energy only by rendering devotional service to the Lord, not by engaging in fruitive work, mental speculations, or any other processes. As Lord Krishna says in his own words, Bhaktya ham ekaya grahya shraddhaya atma priya shatam bhakti hi punati mananista swapakam api sambhavat. Only by practicing unalloyed devotional service with full faith in me can one obtain me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. I am naturally dear to my devotees who take me as the only goal of their loving service. By engaging in such pure devotional service, even the dog eaters can purify themselves from the contamination of the low birth. Bhagavatam 11:14-21. Devotees of the personality of Godhead worship him as the shelter, niket, of everything that exists. Moreover, these Vaishnava devotees themselves can be called Akhila Sattva Niketa in the sense that their abode and shelter is the philosophic truth of the reality, Sattvam, of both the material and the spiritual worlds. Thus, Sripad Madhvacharya in his Vedanta Sutra Bhasya quote this Sutri mantra, Satyam hi evadam visvam ashrajata. Quote, he created this world as real. And the seventh canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 7.1.11 refer to the Supreme Lord as Pradhan Pumbhyam Naradeva Satyakrut, the creator of a real universe of matter and living entities. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out yet another more confidential meaning of Akhila Sattva Niketa as follows, that the Supreme Lord's personal abodes are in no way khila or imperfect, and so are called Vaikuntha, the realms free of anxiety and restriction. Vaishnavas, whose devotional service the Lord has kindly accepted, are so sure of his protection that they no longer fear death, which becomes for them just another easy step on the way back to their eternal home. But are only devotees of the Supreme Lord eligible for liberation from the fear of death? Why are all other mistakes and the learned scholar disqualified? Here, the Shrutis answer as follows. Anyone who is vimukha, who has not turned his face toward the Lord with hopeful expectation of his mercy, is bound up in illusion by the same words of the Vedas that enlighten the surrender devotees. The Vedas themselves warn, Tasya Vaktantir Namani Damani, Tasya Dam Vacha Tantya Nama Bhir Dama Bihi Sarvam Sitam. Quote, the threads of this transcendental sound form a string of sacred names, but also a set of binding ropes. With the rope of their injunctions, the Vedas tie up this entire world, leaving all beings fettered by false designations. The reality of the soul and supersoul is aparoksha, perceivable, but only to one with transcendental vision. Philosophers whose hearts are impure mistakenly presume that this truth is instead paroksha, that it can only be speculated upon and never experience directly. The knowledge of such thinkers may help them dispel certain doubts and misconceptions about the lesser aspect of the reality. But it is useless for transcending material illusion and approaching the absolute truth. As a general rule, only the devotees who faithfully render loving service unto the Supreme Lord up to the point of complete purification receive His grace in the form of aparoksha jnana, direct realizations of His greatness and wonderful compassion. The personality of Godhead is, of course, free to award His mercy even to the undeserving, as He does when He personally kills offensive demons. But He is much less inclined to bless Mayavadis and other atheistic philosophers. One should not think, however, that the devotees of Vishnu are ignored because they may not be expert in philosophic analysis and argument. The soul's perfect realization is to be gained not through his own efforts at mental speculation, but by receiving the Lord's favor. This we hear from Vedic authority Katha Upanishad 2-23 and Mundaka Upanishad 3-3 as follows. This Supreme Self cannot be reached by argumentation or by applying one's independent brain power or by studying many scriptures. Rather, he alone can achieve the self whom the self chooses to favor. To that person, the self reveals his own true personal form. Elsewhere, the Shruti described the devotee's success. Dihante devaha param brahma tarakam vyajaste. At the end of this body's life, the sanctified soul perceives the Supreme Lord just as clearly as if seeing the star in the sky. And its last statement, the Svetara Upanishad 6.23 offers this encouragement to aspiring Vaishnavas. Yasya deve parabhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasya te kathita hai artha prakasante mahatmanah. Unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master, all the imports of Vedic knowledge are automatically revealed. In this regard, Shiva, Srila Jiva Goswami cites another verse of Svetasvatara Upanishad 4.7.8 and 4.13 as follows. The Supreme Lord is who is referred to by the mantras of the Rig Veda, who reside in the topmost eternal sky, and who elevates his saintly devotees to share that same position. One who has developed pure love for him and realizes his uniqueness, then appreciates his glories and is freed from sorrow. What further good can the Rag mantras bestowed on one who knows that Supreme Lord? All who come to know him achieve the supreme destination. To him who is the master of all the Vedas, in whom all planets rest, who is the Lord of all known creatures, both the two-legged and the four-legged. To him, the personality of Godhead, we offer our worship with oblations of ghee. Referring to those who desire liberation, Srila Sridhar Swami prays, let them suffer austerities, throw themselves from mountain tops, travel to holy places, study the scriptures, worship with fire sacrifice, and argue various philosophies. But without Lord Hari, they will never cross beyond death. What a wonderful prayers. They continued 1087:28. Though you have no material senses, you are the self-effulgent sustainer of everyone's sensory powers. The demigods and material nature herself offer you tribute, while also enjoying the tribute offered them by their worshippers, just as subordinate rulers of the various districts in a kingdom offer tribute to their lord. The ultimate proprietor of the land, while also enjoying the tribute paid them by their own subjects. In this way, the universal creator faithfully execute their assigned services out of fear of you. Purport. An intelligent living being should acknowledge the sovereignty of the Lord and willingly engage in devotional service to Him. Such is the conscience of the personified Vedas. But Lord Narayan, while hearing these prayers, may have reasonably asked, quote, since I also have a bodily form with sense organs and limbs, am I not just another doer and enjoyer? Especially since as the supersoul in every being's heart, I supervise countless organs and limbs. How am I not implicated in the sum total of everyone's sense gratification? Answer, no. The assembled Shrutis here rejoin, you have no material senses, yet you are the absolute controller of all, as expressed in the Svetasvatara Upanishad 3:19 as follows. He has no feet or hands, yet he is swiftest runner and can grasp up anything. Though without eyes or ears, he sees and hears. Nobody knows him, yet he is the knower and object of knowledge. Sages described him as the supreme, original personality of God. The hands, feet, eyes, and ears of the Supreme Person are not like those of an ordinary conditioned soul, which are derived from false ego, a material substance. Rather, the Lord's transcendently beautiful future, a direct manifestation of his internal nature. Thus, unlike the soul and body of conditioned living beings, the Lord and his bodily form are identical in all respects. Moreover, his lotus hands, lotus feet, lotus eyes, and other limbs are not restricted in their functions. Sri Brahma, the Lord's first creatures, glorify him on this account as follows. As we see that Krishna can eat through the eyes, he can hear through the feet, any limbs can do all other limbs work, transcendental. Lord Brahma says, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental form is full of bliss, truth, and substantiality, and thus emanates the most dazzling splendor. Each of the limbs of that transcendental figure possesses in itself the full-fledged function of all the organs, and he eternally sees, maintains, and manifests the infinite universes, both spiritual and material. Brahma Samhita 532. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti gives an alternative explanation of the phrase Akhila Shaktidhar, the power that the Supreme Lord maintains within himself is Akhila, free from the limitations of all that is Khila, or inferior and insignificant. He energizes the living being's senses, as described by the Kena Upanishad 1.2. He is the ear's ear, the mind's mind, and the voice's capacity of speech. And the Svetasvatara Upanishad 6.8 declares as follows. He has no material work to perform, nor any material senses with which to perform it. No one can be found who is equal to or greater than him. From the Vedas, we hear how that Supreme Lord possesses multifarious energies, the potency of knowledge, strength, and action, each of which acts autonomously, Autonomously. Indra and the other demigods who rule over mortal beings are themselves servants of the personality of Godhead, as are their superiors, Brahma and his sons, the secondary creators. All of these great gods and sages worship the Supreme Lord by performing their respective services of managing the universe and providing religious guidance for mankind. The powerful controllers of the universe submit themselves in fearful reverence to the supreme controller, Lord Shiva Vishnu, as the Taittiriya Upanishad 281 states as follows. Out of fear of him, the wind blows. Out of fear of him, the sun moves, and Agni and Indra execute their duties. And that, the fifth of their number, races along out of fear of him. Sri Sridhar Swami prays as follows. The Supreme Lord has no material senses, yet he controls every living entity's sensory functions. He is the knower of everything, the ultimate performer of all action, and everyone's proper object of devotional service. I offer my obeisances to him. So the Vedas continues 1087:29. O eternally liberated, transcendental Lord, your material energy causes the various moving and non-moving species of life to appear by activating their material desires. But only when and if you sport with her by briefly glancing at her. You, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, see no one as an intimate friend and no one as a stranger. Just as the ethereal sky has no connections with perceptible qualities. In this sense, you resemble a white purple. Not only are living beings totally dependent on the all-powerful, independent Lord for their maintenance and welfare, but even the very fact of their embodied existence is due only to His exceptional mercy. The personality of Godhead has no interest in material affairs, since He has nothing to gain from the petty pleasure of this world and is altogether free from any contaminations of envy or lust. He is exclusively involved in confidential, loving pastimes with his pure devotees in the internal realm of his spiritual energies. Therefore, the only reason he ever turns to the business of material creation is to help draw lost souls back into this inner circle of eternal enjoyment. To attempt a life separate from the Lord, rebellious souls must be provided with suitable bodies and an illusory environment in which to act out their fantasies of independence. The merciful Lord agrees to let them learn in their own way. And so he glances at Mahamaya, his energy of material creation. Simply by this glance, she is awakened and makes all required arrangement on his behalf. She and her helpers manufactures countless varieties of gross and subtle bodies of demigods, humans, animals, and so on, along with countless situations in heavenly and hellish worlds, all just to give the conditioned soul the exact facility they desire and deserve. What a wonderful. While the uninformed may blame God for the suffering of his creatures, a sincere student of the Vedic literature will come to appreciate the Supreme Lord's equal concerns for each soul. Since he has nothing to lose or gain, there is no reason for him to distinguish between friends and opponents. We may choose to oppose him and make all endeavors to forget him, but he never forgets us, nor does he ever stop providing us with all our necessities, along with his unseen guidance. We breathe the air, we drink the water, and we get the sunshine who provides that. Sri Sridhar Swami prays, O Father, O Lord, appearing as a half man, half lion, it's coming up next month. Please save those who have been born into the endless cycle of birth and death. These souls are distressed by their karmic entanglement, which Maya awakened when your glance excited her to activity. Vedas continues, 1087, text 30. If the countless living entities were all pervading and possess forms that never change, you could not possibly be their absolute ruler, O immutable one. But since they are your localized expansions and their forms are subject to change, you do control them. Indeed, that which supplies the ingredients for the generation of the something is necessarily its controller, because a product never exists apart from its ingredient cause. It is simply illusion for someone to think that he knows the Supreme Lord, who is equally present in each of his expansions. Since whatever knowledge one gains by material means must be imperfect. Because the conditioned souls cannot directly understand the Supreme, the Vedas commonly refer to that Supreme Truth in such impersonal terms as Brahman and Om Tat Sat. If an ordinary scholar presumes to know the confidential meaning of these symbolic references, he should be rejected as an impostor. In the words of Sri Kena Upanishad 2.1, it says, if you think you know Brahman well, then your knowledge is very meager. If you think you can identify Brahma's form from among the demigods, indeed you know but a little. And again, whoever denies having any opinion of his own about the supreme truth is correct in his opinion, whereas one who has his own opinion about the supreme does not know him. He is the unknown to those who claim to know him and can only be known by those who do not claim to know him. What a wonderful explanation and realization. Kena Upanishad 2.3. Acharya Sridhar Swami gives the following explanation of this verse. Many philosophers have studied the mysteries of life from various perspectives and have formed widely differing theories. The Advaita Mayavadis, for example, propose that there is only one living being and one power of illusion, avidya, that covers him, producing the appearance of plurality. But this hypothesis leads to the absurd conclusion that when any one living being becomes liberated, everyone obtains liberation. If, on the other hand, there are many avidyas to cover the one living being, each avidya will cover only some part of him. And we would have to talk about his becoming partly liberated at particular times, while his other parts remain in bondage. This is also obviously absurd. Thus, the plurality of living being is an unavoidable conclusion. Furthermore, there are other theoreticians, namely the proponents of Nyaya and Vaisesika, who claim that the Jiva soul is infinite in size. If souls were infinitesimal, these scholars argue they would not pervade their own bodies. Whereas if they were of medium size, they would be divisible into parts and thus could not be eternal, at least according to the axioms of Nyaya Vaisesika metaphysics. But if the numerous eternal Jiva souls are each infinitely large, how could they be covered by any power of bondage, whether belonging to avidya or to the Supreme Lord Himself? According to this theory, there can be no illusion for the soul, no limitations from which to be liberated. The infinite souls must eternally remain as they are without change. This would mean that the soul would all be equal to God, since he would have no scope for controlling these all-pervading, unchanging rivals. The Vedic Shruti mantras, which affirm unequally the mastery of the Lord over the individual souls, can not be validly contradicted. A true philosopher must accept the statement of the Shruti as reliable authority on all matters they touch. Certainly, in numerous places, the Vedic literature contrasts the Supreme Lord's perpetual, unchanging oneness with the ever-changing embodiments of living beings caught up in the cycle of birth and death. Sri Sridhar Swami prays as follows. In my heart, I take shelter of him who is glorified as the inner controller of all the worlds, and whom the Veda ascertain in truth through logical reasoning. He is Nrsimha, the omniscient and omnipotent Lord of the goddess of fortune. I think we have reached the time, 7:15 on Saturday. We should go for question, answer, comment, sharing some realizations. I think it would be nice. Everyone walk through their life and they have some realizations. So it would be very nice that someone can open up. As norm, I will give the 20 seconds to see any spirit soul will come forward to share something, ask something, have some discussion. So here is the 20 seconds.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hari Bol Janki
Hare
Kanti
Krishna
Hari
Prabhu.
Krishna
Dandavat Prabhu.
Vardhanvat Prabhu.
Prabhu, I heard something, so I'm just sharing that. Prabhu,
Hmm.
if you take a glass of water, if you put a coin, it sinks. In the similarly, if you put any iron rod in the water, big bucket of water, also it sinks. But if you put the same
Your
spirit
voice is
of
Prabhuji.
mm,
Haribo, your voice is
yes, Prabhu.
cracking up,
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu.
Can you see that if you can get closer to the microphone or your device or something? Or speak maybe little
Is
loud.
it good, Prabhu, now?
Cracking, we cannot hear
Is it
clear.
good?
Let's
Is it
see.
good now, Prabhu?
Yes,
Is it good now?
yes.
Okay, Prabhu. If you put anything with iron in the water, it sinks. But if you fix the iron on a wood, it floats on the water. Similarly, that we are in the
Hmm.
material world, we are sunk, and with the help of the spiritual master and the devotees, if we are associated with that, we can float in this samsara jagat,
Hmm.
and reach our point. So that's why we should
Hmm.
never leave the association of the devotees.
Haribo. Yes. Wonderful realizations. Association of the devotees is the key for advancement in spiritual life. And
Yes,
we should
Prabhu.
always hanker to have the association of little more advanced devotee than ourselves, so we can learn from the life. One thing I would like to share in that, just by having a proximity of those personalities without saying anything, even though they may not say a word to us, but just to remain in the proximity and looking at their actions in different ways, how they deal with different situations, we can learn so many things. I have the good fortune to work very closely with Tamal Krishna Maharaj for 1 decade under his supervision as a president. And it's we cannot even think how many things we learn from the life and actions of those spiritual personality. So it's very, very important that we should associate with the advanced devotees, and we can learn so many things. Wonderful point, Prabhu. Anybody else wants to share something on that topic?
Also, Prabhu, what is
Or
my another thing, Prabhu,
yes,
with my
yes,
experience is that in anybody's families, you can see that if you with the relatives, with the people that you have the quarrels, but with the devotees, We do not have such because devotees are humble and they try to help each other.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
Yes, Prabhuji, we
That's
are also getting association of exalted and elevated devotee like you every day, Prabhuji. Thank you so, so much.
I'm nothing, mother. I'm a very ordinary, fallen, unworthy servant. I'm trying to fix my life because I'm at the age that if I don't immerse myself totally, what would be the benefit of this whole life? So
I
I'm
like,
trying to remain fit.
Prabhuji, your everyday quote. Oh, wonderful quote, Prabhuji.
Haribol, Haribol.
Hare
That's
Krishna.
one of the devotees give me as a gift of that book. So I take the picture and send it. Wonderful. Yes. Anybody wants to share anything or have any question, comment, corrections? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble
Haribol,
obeisances.
Girivardhan.
All
Hare
glories
Krishna.
to all glories to Srila Prabhupada and all the Vaishnavas assembled here, Prabhu.
Haribol.
It's,
Haribol.
so one one thought, Prabhu, when you were explaining Tamal Krishna Maharaj's potencies on it. So I think I was reading Leelamrita and Prabhupada when he was struggling to find a place in Mayapur. He was having a lot of difficulties from the other his god. I think the people like other god brothers were giving him challenges to buy any land there. And Prabhupada instructed Tamal Krishna Maharaj, you go and buy the land. Till you buy the land, don't come here. So don't show your face to me. And he took that as an instruction. He went to the Mayapur. And because of the mercy of Prabhupada, within 1 week, I think he came with the land, occupied a village. I think some Muslims, he had an agreement and talked to them. They brought the land. So I was saying that the instruction of a spiritual master and the dedication of a devotee, sacrifice of the devotee, how important it is. I think that is, I was really like, those actions will, I think, as you were saying, right, you don't have to see them doing it, right? Just hearing them, their pastimes, it gives so much potency and strength. And I think till you have that thought in your mind, it gives you so much strength in your life to move forward with it. The moment that idea and thought wipes out, you are again back to square one. And I think I was appreciating their potency of hearing their pastime itself is so merciful and so strength for us to make our spiritual journey move forward on it. So one question I have is, Prabhu, if you have.
Yes.
So you were reading about deserve and desire and deserve, right? No, deserve something which you were reading it. I think even Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also quotes that, saying that before you make yourself eligible, don't desire, right?
Yes.
So because I think as if you look at the qualifications, I think as a fact, I don't have any qualification to be calling the Lord's name. So what then should I not be desiring for that? What is it means, bro?
Yes. At least, we should have this spiritual desire. It's not that we shouldn't have any desire. And about the instruction from the spiritual master, I think when the spiritual master give us the instructions, the strength to carry over that mission is comes with the instructions. So why some of the devotees cannot fulfill the desire of the spiritual master? Only one thing, that we do not have the faith in the instructions of our spiritual master. If we have implicit faith, then automatically when they instruct us to do something, the all this requirement to fulfill that instruction is comes with their instructions. So in reality, my realization in my life, we don't have any energy or any intelligence or anything on our own. Only one thing is required, that we should have a complete faith. No matter how many obstacles comes to achieve their instructions, if you remain steadfast, Krishna will run all the tests, and which is good for our own purification. But if he remains steadfast, everything will be revealed to us. And whatever the instructions the spiritual master has given, you will succeed. My own experience, that my Guru Maharaj saw the plan of the Houston temple. We demolished the old building in 2001. We have the uh, groundbreaking ceremony 2002, and my Guru Maharaj passed away. But I always felt that he is present and I must fulfill his desire and wishes. So continuously, just think about that. I was working full time. Somehow or other, I was acquiring the lands, raising the funds, dealing with architect, construction, everything. And sometimes I think, how is it possible? Working full time, I was able to do. But I think that my Guru Maharaj, when not me, but by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, when we finished the Gauranga Hall as a offering to dear Srila Prabhupada on his centennial year, 1996, he said that the whole development is happening because of my Guru Nishtha. He said that. So one thing is for sure, that we will be always incapable of doing anything. But if we maintain complete faith in Guru and Krishna, as the verse was saying, Yasya deve para bhakti yatha deve tatha guru tasya te titahatam prakasante mahatmanaha. That if we have the implicit faith in Guru and Krishna, impossible thing become possible. The layman can climb the mountain. The dumb can become an eloquent speaker. And that realization I have in my life. So we should seek for that, instruction from our spiritual master. And we should imbibe very nicely. We should cultivate our life in such a way to glorify our spiritual master. We should live exemplary life. My Guru Maharaj always used to say, and I don't know, he wrote after the couple of years of my initiation. I have still the letter. And at that time, I didn't understood, and still I don't understand. I have little glimpse of it now, at least. That he said, you have understood all the principles of devotional life. That's what he wrote. I didn't read that many books at that time, even. Busy with so many things, But something that we gain just by having the implicit faith. Everything can be revealed to us within the heart. And that's what I was thinking, that I didn't read so many, literatures. and how I was able to manage the temple, because so many decisions you have to make, right? And you can make so many blunders, even mistakes, but somehow or other, Krishna always give us the intelligence. So I think we have to remain as a dog to our spiritual master. And it was nice that, right after we opened the new temple in 2014, in 2015, Bibi Govinda Swami Maharaj, who was really close to my Guru Maharaj, and he's the one who brought Giri Govardhan for the Houston temple, carrying on like a carry-on luggage. When he visited in 2015, right after the Mangalarti, he pulled me over and he took me on the expanded temple room. And he said, Shyam Sundar, all these project, the magnitude of this Houston development, there must be a one strong guru should be there. And, without the guru, how can it be manifested like this? But then the Maharaj says that because you have complete empowerment from your Guru Maharaj. So despite his absence, so many times we remain very steadfast in our devotion as long as our Guru Maharaj is on this planet. But after departure of the spiritual master, it's very difficult. So many, like when Prabhupada left this world, so much disturbance comes. But he said that your Guru Maharaj has empowered you so you were able to do it. And I totally agree with that. Otherwise, it's not possible. So we need to seek that empowerment. And empowerment will come if we remain steady, steadfast, complete, faithful. And I think I always recommend to the newcomer who wants to take initiation, I always tell them, wait until the proper time. Don't rush it. You should be fully convinced that this person, whatever he will say, I will be able to do it. Unless and until you have that firm conviction in your heart, we should wait and develop that relationship. Because it's very, very essential. If he cannot follow the instruction of our spiritual master, it can create havoc in our devotional life. So it's better to wait for some years and gain that confidence and the faith, and then surrender, and then never give up, no matter what happens in our life. Dedicate completely to fulfill the wishes of our spiritual master. And if we have the implicit faith and determination, it will happen. And your question was, should we desire? We should desire. We should not desire that Krishna take me this or give me this or that, but we should have simple desire that let me become a selfless servant of my spiritual master. And let me live, please help me to live an exemplary life so my spiritual master can be happy and Krishna can be happy. Those type of desire needed. We need to churn those desires. Unless and until we think about something, there is no plan action will come. But if you decide to do something, then you will utilize your intelligence how to achieve that. If you don't have any goal, nothing happens. But if we keep some goals in our mind and heart, then we will work toward that goal. So thank you very much for allowing me to share some nice feeling of my Guru Maharaj. I never felt his absence. And I continued his instruction, even though he was not here. Just have faith
Thank
and
you,
keep
Prabhu.
all of our activities should be completely clean, that nobody should say something. That's what I made my mind. Like, give you one example, that all the devotees around the temple, they have bought the land for their families or whatever. As long as I was the president, and I bought so many lands. When I became a TP, I had like a 2.3 acres of land. Now we have almost maybe close to 15, 17 acres of land. But I never purchased for myself. Like one house, I can tell you where we have the guest house. The person knows me very well. So one day, I think in mid 90s, that he told me that, Shyam, why don't you buy my house? It was an old house. You have to really tear it down completely and build a new house. It was so old. So he said, why don't you buy for your son? I'll give you a very good price. Now I know that this area will flourish. And now that property is worth more than $750,000. And you know how much I bought it for? $45,000. But I told that person that I don't want to buy for me or my family. I will buy for the temple. So all these actions, one thing I learned from my Guru Maharaj, that action speaks louder than the words. You can speak so eloquently, but if our life doesn't substantiate our words, it has no meaning, and it will not carry that much weight when you speak. So those kind of a thing I maintain in my life, and I want to be truthful. I'm not saying that I'm the perfect one. I may have made the mistakes. And
Prabhu,
if
when we
somebody
come to
point
the
out my,
temple, when we come to the
huh?
temple, Prabhu, when we come to the temple, we see the things what you have
Yeah,
done for the temple. It's always amazing, Prabhu. If for a person to do a small project in the house, it just takes months and struggles for the money. And the things what you have achieved in for the entire the temple is unimaginable. How it is. Sometimes if I think how we manage the funds and how we bought all these things, it is astonishing.
yeah. Sometimes I feel that how is it happen? Yeah, that's sometime at the night time I think, how was it possible? It's only Radhanila Madhava and my Guru Maharaj was giving me the strength, and they were the doers. I was just a simple instrument.
But Prabhu, your name will be
Yeah,
ever forever
this
for
should
this
be
temple,
the
Prabhu. Like our Guru Maharaj, and your name is immortal for this temple, Prabhu.
well, it's Radhanila Madhavas and my Guru Maharaj mercy. Maybe we can glorify more and more and do something more nicely. Then it would be very nice. Yeah, it's amazing, amazing. And that's why, I have so much faith in different things, and whatever happened in my life, it gave me so much strong faith that these things works. We have to remain just fixed on the principle of the following the instructions of my spiritual master. Like I was when I was in Vrindavan, I have a very loving relationship with Mukundat Prabhu, Prabhupada disciple, very nice singer, very nice learned person. So I was asking him, what should I do? Because the instructions that my spiritual master has given me specifically has been fulfilled. but I'm not still happy. Still, I want to do something. So he said, pray to your Guru Maharaj and he will guide you. So I'm praying. And a couple of things that I have in my heart too before, if Krishna and Guru allow me. I would like to build one more apartment building because now we have the, uh, there are some potential tenants are standing in the line queue. So there is some demand. And also I felt that, if the devotees will live close to the temple, it would be so nice. And I was living in a wonderful house, Prabhu. I used to host 6, 7 sannyasis in my home. 100 devotee can sit very comfortably in my living room, swimming pool, English spa. I sold it and moved in the rental house near the temple and then looked for the land and we bought it and then we built the house. So it's a very, very nice thing to do, to live near the temple. So I have the desire to build one more apartment building. I'm working, and also I have little land in back of Nitya Kishori Mataji's house that I feel that I should build a couple of rooms, not with the medical facility. The patient has to bring the nurse and medicine, whatever, but we provide the space so they can be in temple ambient to leave this body. So these two things is there in my heart. Let's see.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
But yeah, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu, for sharing all.
I feel,
I'm sorry,
yeah,
if I'm
I
not.
have that.
I'm sorry, Prabhu, for interrupting you. Carry on, Prabhu.
No. You are not interrupting me. So those are the thoughts I have, and I will keep on praying. We also have to do the, my Guru Maharaj wants to see all the local community also get involved. So Western preaching is also the main thing, but I'm not expert on anything. So what can I do? Whatever I have the ability, I will do to enhance it.
Prabhu, uh, thank you for sharing all these, anecdotes from your Guru Maharaj and,
Yeah,
how.
actually, some people, but my Guru Maharaj also told me at the end that first he told me that if you build this temple, whatever I have expected from you in this life, you will completely satisfy. But then later on, before he departed from this world, he told me that Shamsundar, you are good at the fundraising. If Krishna give you little life after you finish the temple project, raise enough fund, because Tamal Krishna Maharaj has installed these deities. So he told me that I have promised Radhanila Madhava that I will very nicely worship you for at least 10,000 years. Because Prabhupada says that after 10,000 years, nobody will have the temple or anything. So my Guru Maharaj told me that if you have the life, please raise and save some money. So that money should be utilized only for maintaining the deities. So if no donation comes as the Kali Yuga progresses, you raise some fund, so that way at least the deity will be taken care. So I take that obligations and I'm working toward the goal, and Krishna has helped me that too. If the future generation will manage the fund nicely and manage the temple nicely, which I feel that they are qualified, they are doing a good job. So then my Guru Maharaj, all the desire will get fulfilled. So let's see. Yes, Tulsi Priya Mataji, you were saying something.
Yes, Prabhu. Prabhu, I was wondering about the guest house. Now that we approach the topic, Prabhu, is it like because what happens every like some festival, Janmashtami or something, we would like to bring lot of students, but just because for the accommodation purpose and stuff. So a couple of times I've reached out to Mansinga Mataji for the guest house, but it's not functional. Is it like? Uh, I mean, I don't know
I
what's the
think
status
it,
with that.
no, I think I can answer you. Some of the rooms that we created for the guest house, but it has been occupied by the residents devotees. Like the principal for the Goswami Academy, Subra Mataji was living, Joy Nitai Prabhu was living, and the Murari Vallabh Prabhu is living there now. Uh, Sadhu Sant Prabhu and his wife, Sudevi Sundari Mataji is living. So there is a limited that
Oh,
they occupied the place. But still, there are some rooms. But I think what I have heard that it's very difficult to manage like a hotel. So I think they are reluctant on that. But I told them, let's charge some money that we can maintain it. Like, you can reasonably charge $40-50 a night and provide the good service. And the devotee will be more than happy to give that money rather than spending $100 on other motels or something.
yes,
So
Prabhu.
sometime I have seen that, right. But they are also facing that, taking care of the things and, you know, it's it's like, but actually when I have the desire for apartment, my thought come in my mind that if any devotees that they say that I will dedicate it completely and you maintain me. And I feel that I will take that challenge to maintain them. Everything. I'll give them a room to stay, live a life in the apartment, and they do 100% seva to the temple.
Wow.
And that's my
Um,
desire is there that, we should facilitate like that. Come forward, dedicate 100%. Don't worry about anything.
yeah, that's very nice,
But I
Prabhu.
don't like it.
That's very, very
Yeah.
nice and generous of you. No, I was just wondering because I always have this problem. Like, if I have to bring students, like, I
Mm,
can get like 10
right,
students, but getting them, and they don't need any fancy, they like just one night stay, like, especially for
right,
Janmashtami or anything. And they'll definitely, like, even if four people stay in a room and you charge, like, say, 100 bucks, 25 per person, they will be very happy to stay, but they will get that. If they stay for one night, then they can attend the Mangal Aarti and the Darshan Aarti, and that exposure
yes,
is very important, Prabhu. Because at Penn State, we had like Gita Nagari close to, and for my transformational, that also played a very important role at the attraction to Krishna consciousness. So if we can get students, say, like for just one night and make them attend the Mangal Aarti, Darshan Aarti, but where do I put them? That is always the question for me. And every time I reach out, and they don't need any, like, I mean, I understand maintaining the guest house and all. All they need is just a place, like they can get the sleeping mats also, Prabhu. They just need a, like, a one night shelter.
right,
That is my always a
right.
dilemma. So
No,
if
I think,
for some,
yeah, you should talk to Sarang Thakur Prabhu and
okay,
explain. I think I will support that motion because we have a facility and we should give to those visiting guests, like that. I
right.
think it would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay, Prabhu. I'll definitely talk, but you also
Sometime
put
I
in work.
intervene, sometime, yes. But
Okay,
talk to
Prabhu.
them. I think they will be open. You just take and say that, we'll take care. And I think why we want to keep the empty room, you know.
Yeah, because
I
every
think
every
we have reached.
Janmashtami I do talk, Prabhu. Every Janmashtami I do talk. Then he sends me to Mansi Ganga, and then Mansi Ganga Mother says, like, no, we are not, like, giving out those
Mm,
rooms. So for like last 2 years, that's been
right.
happening. So and then like then
Okay.
devotees like Sundar Gopal Prabhu and all, like we can just get 3-4 students then, in that case. But I'm sure there'll be more
Right.
students. At least I can get 10, 12, and that exposure will be an excellent thing. I'll put a word with Sarang Thakur Prabhu, but you also put a word, intervene Prabhu.
Yes. I'll
Thank you,
talk
Prabhu.
to Mansi again.
Sure. Thank
Yes.
you, Prabhu. Thank you
Okay,
so
we
much.
have reached our time. We have reached our time. We are already 2 minutes over. We should be punctual. Thank you very much for joining. And with this steady practice, Krishna will bless us all. With the start, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful and fearless. With the start, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the dusk of wonderful devotees who join with so many austerities every morning. From Houston, from India, from New Jersey, Boston, Virginia, Boise, St. Louis, Alachua, Montreal, San Jose, College Station, Phoenix, Tempe, Brampton, Austin. Vanchu kalpatarubhasya kripa
Vasindevaya
sindhubhyo
Sampatitanam Vaishnavam
Ananta
Ananta
Koti.
Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai Guru Maharaj ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shyam Sundar Prabhu ki
Chamdas
Jai.
Hare
Prabhu
Krishna.
ki jai.
Thank you, bro. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Bol
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Bol, Hare Bol.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Dhanavad
Bol,
Pranam.
Hare Bol.
I
Hare
share the
Krishna.
same experience for Krishnastami to have accommodation there. Yeah.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Thank you very much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.